So, if you can. I see you on mute.
My bad. I'm just getting off of the gym. How you guys doing? Brothers doing? My name is DeMonte Taylor. I currently serve as the state director for the state of Virginia. It's a blessing to know y'all, blessing to know the candidates, and hope to hear from y'all soon.
Awesome. Brother Mike Hutch.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing? I'm from the ACR, New Jersey. I'm the regional vice Polaris.
Okay, great, awesome. And last but certainly not least, Brother Quad.
Again, good evening, everyone. I am the state director for Tennessee. Yeah.
All right, great. So, Brother Hill, could you go introduce yourself, and then I'll come after you?
Absolutely. So good evening, brothers. It is an honor really to meet with you guys. My name is Danielle Hill, and I am serving as the candidate for the International Grand Vice Polaris of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Just a little bit about me. I've been in the organization for a little over 20 years, came in, reactivated side chapter, which is Coppin State University in Baltimore, Maryland. Then I transitioned into, I reactivated along with 9 other brothers into Psi Omega alumni chapter in Columbia, Maryland. And so now I serve a couple of capacities. Well, I've served in many administrations, but currently I serve as the coordinator for conference services for the Eastern region. And so if you want to see what a regional meeting looks like, please join us April the 15th through the 17th. You'll see our handiwork. And I am currently the I'm the conclave program chair for our conclave that's going to be in July. And if you are not planning to attend, I would recommend you definitely get on the bandwagon and attend, because we have some great events that are coming up. I'm honored to share this platform with Brother Taylor. We put this together because we want to talk to the state directors. As he said in his brief conversation, you are really the backbones of what's happening in the respective states, and we commonly to come together to kind of understand what the needs are. And that's why we're here today. You know, you all know a lot of the ins and outs. I mean, the stuff that you can't tell nobody in these respective states. And so we want to know a little bit about your perspective and where you see. And, you know, I'm looking forward to talking with you guys more on an individual basis, but as well as collectively. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Brother Hill. So yes, brothers, again, I'm Brother Carl Taylor. I am serving to be your next International Grand Polaris, the 23rd International Grand Polaris. I crossed in the spring of 2000 by way of Alpha Chapter. Alpha Chapter brothers came up to my school, which was a privately owned university, white PWI school, and they pledged me in my LB back in spring of 2000. I wanted to let you guys know that in terms of my work experience, I bring to bear 5 different industries. So I bring that to the platform. I'm not sure if any other candidate has ever had that. When you work in 5 different industries, so you're the military, the federal government, a nonprofit, for-profit, you wind up coming up with a whole bunch of ways in which you can do things, not just being in one lane. So those things I bring to bear. I've been working for Iota for over 20 years. I'll be 21 in March. So I'm looking forward to my Iota anniversary, be 21 years in March for this great fraternity. I've been, actually, Hill mentioned that he and I actually helped, we were one of the brothers helped reactivate Psi Omega alumni chapter. So I've been Vice Polaris, Regional Secretary, currently serving as a state director and also serving as the Eastern Region Director of Training and Development. Our logo for our campaign is now is the time, re-engaging the stars. And we were intentional about that because we wanted to say that a lot of you guys know right now that you see things going on and you're wondering, why is it taking so long, or why don't we get basic stuff done? I know as a state director, one of the challenges that we have is that the fact that we have to wait 6 months or more to get certificates and cards and activation. And that was just like such a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, it's 2021, or why are we waiting this our archaic process? It shouldn't be like that. And I'm just like, we can do this better. I know so many talented brothers, and some of them are on this call tonight that we can figure out a better way to do things. And so we said, now is the time. We're not going to get on social media and talk about what we woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're just actually going to put our hand to the plow and get the work done. That's what I kind of operate off of. And I don't make promises that I can't back up. So if I say I'm going to do something, my name is on the line. My father always taught me my word is my bond. I also wanted to, the other part of our slogan, so now's the time re-engaging our stars. You will find that sometimes brothers will have an event and you may ask them, well, what star is that related to? Or what's that have to do with our stars? The founders gave us whatever we needed when they created this great organization. So that's all we're going to do. We're just going to take what we already have and just brush it off a little bit and just make it that much better. You guys may be aware there's a strategic plan committee that's working. They're going to bring some great things to the table, and we will find ways in which to enhance what they do and take it to the next level. So brothers, we're going to go ahead and kick it off. Wanted to make sure you guys knew who we were. Brother Hill, at some point, probably during the call before we get off, we'll give you our website where you can go and find out more great stuff about us and pass it on to your friends and family, well, mainly brothers who actually can vote in different chapters. Actually, since this is supposed to be a listening tour, brothers, we're going to pose a few hot topic questions. Brother Hill and I are going to, banter back and forth, and then we're really looking to hear from you about some of these things that we're going to come up with. So is there anything just off the top of your head that anybody wants to throw out there just to us before we get started?
I'm sorry, brother. I was trying to let Quentin in and I hit yours by mistake, so you can unmute yourself. Please forgive me.
Okay.
Quentin was coming in.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything that that was pressing on somebody's heart that they wanted to put out there. All right. So I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was also, so I am not as familiar with the role of state directors as well as Brother Taylor is. So I guess I'm kind of a novice at this. So I'll ask a very blanket question. What do you see as a state director? What do you see is some of the greatest challenges you have in fulfilling your obligation as a state director?
Good evening, Ms. Brandon. I would say the communication between what the administration does from some information that kind of gets down to state directors. Sometimes it's not all the way given, sometimes it's partially given, but really communication is a big thing because we don't want to do anything wrong, and we don't want to, do something where it's not seen as, the proper way to do stuff. But if things were communicated properly and we would know that particular information of what they're looking for, then it'll be a lot easier for us to do what we need to do.
So when you said, Brandon, when you said administration, are you talking about from the regional level or national?
I would say both. Some of the regionals, our regional coordinator does a great job. I believe there's some information that he gets. I believe that I don't think he gets all the information. Not him relaying information to us, because he relays as much as he knows. But it's more so the information from the top coming all the way down.
Okay. Anyone else?
So, brothers, you may be aware we're taking notes. Go ahead.
I could say one thing. Can I say one more thing? Also, regarding the entire BIP process, I feel like some people know it and some people don't. You have a lot of because it just hit us out of nowhere a couple years ago, and then when it hit us, we really didn't have information. We was just told, oh, here it is. You got to deal with this. Figure it out. And I was like, oh. I mean, if there wasn't a tutorial or a Zoom call or something for us to learn those things. So I feel like if something is taught properly, when people come into or step into the shoes of a state director, it'll make it easier for them to do their job. So meaning let it be a training course, because I'm gonna be real. I can talk from my standpoint. I was asked to do this position, and I was asked to do this and do that because I was already doing it, not knowing that. And it was like, okay, well, you might as well fulfill the role of it if you're doing it. So, okay, I talked to, Chris, and I said, all right, I'll do what needs to be done. But also, what else do I need to be done? And it was like, okay, well, you can do this, do that. I'm looking like, well, where's like a sheet of like, the responsibilities of a state director. I'm not sure if it's given. I tried to look on the website for it. It's not there. And then I'm doing the best I can for what I just believe that it is that I need to do, as well as talking to, my regional regional players and doing all that and talking to them. There's some things I feel like it's just not set in clear written words about what the responsibilities and the duties of a state director.
And so do you believe that the work that you have done, so, let's say in the perfect world, Brandon, that we do take the office and you're looking for a better day for Iota, would you have the capacity to draft, okay, this is what a state director looks like. These are the roles and responsibilities, because, one of the things about Brother Taylor and I is, and we'll share with anybody, we don't know everything. And although he's a state director, while we don't know everything, we're looking for people who are willing to work, and we need your help. We being the leaders of the organization, that's great, but how much are we leading if no one is following? And so if you say, okay, well, Brother Hill, we don't have descriptions of specifically what we're going to do. Well, if you, and let's say this team right here, I'm glad that we brought you all together, get together and say, hey, these are the roles and responsibilities for state directors. So that next bunch, we're teaching each other. That next bunch, they already have a framework. So 4 years from now, Brandon, somebody else won't have this call and saying the same thing.
I'm sorry, I would agree with, sitting down with a team of state directors to, put some things out, because I'm pretty sure that some other state directors do things differently, than what I do. And they may do something, we do things differently. So I believe that there should be somewhat of a consensus about what is needed from a state director. And I will be, definitely happy to sit down with a group of us, or all of us, just to lay out like a guideline of what a state director is and what they should do.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of you guys may be aware, I worked with Brother Eddie Wingate, because they were actually trying, when we were standing up Iota University, and it's supposed to be this, the intent of what it's going to be when we get there is it's going to be the fraternity's main training and development tool. So it's going to house all of our trainings, and ideally we would like to have stuff like TED Talks, and you're going to have leadership training in there, and then Robert's Rules of Order, the most current versions of those things, so that brothers can not only possibly use it on their resume, but maybe also use it as something they can add to their job at the professional level, to get some training with regard to that. So Iota is not just only for the undergrads. You can also take professional training at the higher levels as well. So to that end, we put together a state director certification PowerPoint, and also we went inside Novio to also set it up so it's like you can hear actual training, a person talking to you while you're taking the training. So that does exist. I have a copy of it. I need to follow back up with Brother Wingate to see where we are with the actual program, but that's at least a start. I'm not one of those persons where I just want to talk a lot. I knew it was something that hadn't been done, to Brandon's point. And so we started putting it down, because I was like, okay, these are some best practices that may work in the Eastern region or in my state, in my area, but maybe we can find ways we can tweak it. So we have something to go off of, brothers. So we can certainly start from there and add to it. So I had a question, Brandon. You had mentioned something about you were doing the job, and they just said, okay, go ahead and just take it on. Is it just you in the Eastern Pennsylvania? Like you don't have any type of other brothers, assistants that you're training up to know what to do and maybe replace you when you decide to step down?
I've been showing someone something, showing them little things, but I haven't really, there are a lot of brothers out here that may want the position, and I'm gonna be really, really honest and really, really blunt. They want the position because they just want, to be known and to be said they can do something.
Amen.
And it's a lot of people that, I don't know, I'm just gonna go through it. There's a lot of people that want it, and they just want to hold a position. And I don't believe that they will effectively do the position the proper way, That's just my own opinion on it, and it's because of the way that they think the organization used to be. Over the past almost 5 years now that I've been in an organization, I've seen it develop in some kind of way. And their mentality is stuck back in the old days, thinking they can do this, they can do that. But some of those things don't work no more, and they don't understand that. That hence why, my own main, personal feelings towards that particular or these particular set of individuals. So because of and I'm gonna just be really blunt because it's me. Because of people that have treated me that way, it's harder for me to do what I need to do. And they don't respect anybody in that position if they don't see eye to eye with them. So how do you get over that hurdle? And it's not like I'm not gonna be nobody's floozy. I'm not gonna be nobody's errand boy. I'm not gonna do that. You're not gonna have me, doing this when you hit me up. No, hit me at the proper time and I got you. I'll do what I need to do. And if you can't do that, okay, get it done yourself. And I don't have that mentality, but it's just the fact that I'm faced with that mentality. But back to the point when I was asked to do it, again, it was just, hey, Brandon, you're already doing it, because the current director, he wasn't as accessible as I was at that particular time, because I was a year or two after I crossed, and it was 2 years after I crossed, and it was like, hey, Brandon, you're willing and able to do this. Do you mind taking on this position? And I think at the time I was one of the graduate brothers, because I came to a grad chapter, that was able to fulfill the needs of some of the undergrad situations that we had in the state. So that's when I had to just, be able to do what I needed to do. But prior to it, I was never, trained on how to do it. Was I shown some things? Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I was shown a lot of things. But I wasn't actually trained on exactly what to do. Am I teaching someone else? Yes, I am, because I would definitely be able to lend a need to the organization, and do what I need to do to because I'm a part of it. But I think that I am, showing somebody else how to do it. If I'm needed, I definitely will step up and do what needs to be done. That's what I was trying to say.
Right. So I have something else, just in general for the group, brothers. When we talk about VIP, the brother intake process, there is we're supposed to have regional directors of intake, and those are the ones that have access to the site. They don't give the state directors access to it. Is that the case for everybody? Like, Quad, do you have access? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother Darren.
I'm going to touch on that a little bit because I am the director of that for the ACR. I did give admin access to state directors to have access because I feel like I agree a lot with what Brandon said. And there's just like I don't know if it's a disconnect in procedure or what necessarily it is, but a lot of the stuff that we do, we have to figure out on our own because no one really, really showed us the right way. I mean, luckily I have people here to help me, but like state directors, I even struggle with what that role looks like, even though I am not one.
So wait a minute, wait a minute, right there. I'm going to cut you off, but I had to ask something. So you're trying to tell me the current national director of intake did not give you guidance and direction on how to be a regional director of intake and BIP?
As far as what I need to know, yes, but there's a lot more that goes into it than the basic information that gets handed down from nationals.
Gotcha.
The interactions with schools, the interactions with chapters, that stuff that those things don't really necessarily provide.
All right, I'll holler at y'all. Okay.
But yeah, back to the original point, I gave the state directors, access to that. That way they can work with their chapters more directly. They're more on the grounds. I'm located in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh specifically. Brandon's over in Philly, I have Bakir over in Jersey. Like they're there with their chapters, why can't they be the first line of contact rather than coming to me? Which I don't necessarily mind, but I just feel as though that state directors just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but that's kind of how I felt about that.
No, I think it's about when we don't have, we can look in the system, but we can't do anything. That's just one of those things. I think they did it that way so they would have more control over, so they would be able to know who specifically to go to if there was a problem. But I think BIP also it tells you in the system who was the last person to operate, and so it's a better tracking mechanism. I do believe it needs to be taught better. Court, you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I guess back to the original question, a lot of the challenges that I've faced have been managing expectations. And so what that looks like in terms of what undergraduate chapters specifically need from the organization, obviously to develop and grow, but also what I need as a state director to deliver those items. So earlier today, I'm dealing with I'm dealing with new intakes from spring of last year that don't have login information for their accounts. So, they're not able to look up bylaws, they're not able to check to see if they're financial or not, and having to, wait on other individuals to give me that information to pass it on. I'm a firm believer that if anyone's doing anything kind of volunteer-based like we all are, that it should be as simple as possible, because we don't have to do this. All of us kind of said, hey, I don't mind stepping in. But two, also ensuring that the things that my guys need are being delivered. So, every semester coming up with a new kind of training that I think the guys needed. I think it would be a lot easier if we had something from nationals that was consistent, that was something that was something that was meaningful in terms of what our guys need. Like, we can always talk about, oh, what does intake look like? What does this look like? But something that's actually meaningful, that's not only going to help them in their Iota life, but also like in their careers in general. And I think it's really difficult when you have people on the ground who are, coming up with stuff every other semester saying, hey, this is what's needed. And, you don't have any kind of follow through from national in terms of other training and development.
I think that's fair. Anybody else want to chime in?
I was going to say I have full access throughout the whole BIP since I've been state director. So
where you at? Where are you at, brother?
The best region, OVR.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Ohio State
well, they have a good regional players there, so
we have a plethora of regional players that was great.
Mm-hmm.
that I've been through. But me and Quad work together a lot. But as far as the BIP, I mean, at first it was challenging, but we have, which is Gene is our regional, shall I say, intake coordinator. So Eugene Williams. So he has taught us a lot, and you can do a lot in BIP. It's hectic at certain times, but it works. And if we have any questions, me and Quad can ask each other, ask other state directors, and there's no problem at all. And I also have a question for y'all. Why did y'all skip OVR? Y'all had a little meetings with everybody, but y'all ain't had one with us.
No, it's not done, brother. We got till July.
Okay, I'm looking at the schedule. I don't see no OVR. I'm feeling like, okay.
Y'all on there. Trust me, okay. You on there. We already
as far as BIP and everything else, BIP, I mean, it was a transition, but it is necessary. There's no hand as far as the money changing hands from back in the day when I crossed 93, from money missing, things like that. So it's a good system. We put it back on the intakes, intakees, as far as the money. That's always a problem because you got undergrads trying to come up with this money. When I pledged, it was $275. Now it's $1050. So that's a big difference too. So the main thing with them is, I think as far as starting that window after they get their refund checks, get them a month to get in school to get their mind right first, and then come, as far as open the intake window. Because having that intake that first month, people want to pledge, but they ain't got the bread.
So, this is a great conversation because, like I said, we need to have this conversation with the incoming administration because you have access, but I don't have access, and some other people don't have access. Brandon's struggling where he is, and if he had the same access as you had, it would be like, well, these are the type of things we could fix collectively, So I'm not understanding why the they're not, you're going to have rules, but then you're not going to execute them. And then some folk have it and some people don't. And we wonder why we're disjointed and why we don't have we're not understanding on the same page. But great point. I do like BIP now that I understand it. It helps everybody be on the same page. And the key number one thing is the whole money piece. You don't have to worry about no brother dipping out with the coin. I'm totally in favor of that. Anybody else have any comments about what you've heard thus far? Any other, before we move on? Okay. I got a hot topic for you guys that I know is out there. Talk to me about recruitment. How difficult is it? or is it good? Now, also I'm talking about alumni chapters as well as undergrad chapters. Is it easy for you where you are? Has your regional Polaris given you a certain quota you have to meet per year? Do you guys have any of that?
I'm sure I probably share this with everyone else. I don't necessarily think recruitment is hard. I do think that for some of my guys in particular, the guys that happen to be interested also most of the time don't have the grade point requirements. And I know there's always been a lot of discussion about like, how do you bring in good quality guys, but still kind of uphold the meaning of what scholarship is to us. And then you think about like the GPA requirement that we have in our bylaws. You know, I'm kind of on the fence of what that looks like, but it has been a barrier. I know my undergrads in Memphis and at Knoxville, excuse me, you know, we always kind of have these conversations like, you know, they have guys that are interested and most of the time they have the money, they just don't have the grades. And I think when we talk about recruitment, it's like, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword because you want obviously the chapter to thrive, but you also have stipulations that we have to adhere to as a fraternity. So it's kind of like a balancing act.
What is the requirement at that particular school for their GPA? Is it 2.0?
For what? The
school you were just referring to.
So for the schools my schools in Tennessee, at least, they defer to whatever our bylaws state. So
okay.
So if we're a 2.5, they don't allow anything less.
Got it. Okay. Brothers, y'all have something set up where once the undergraduate graduates and let's say stay in the same area, are you having him nurture a relationship with the local alumni chapter if there is one, so that he don't fall through the crack, and that way it's a connection? Or if that brother lives in a different state, do you reach out to the other state director and say, hey brother, we got somebody coming to your state, look out for them? You know, is that going on? Okay. Yeah, I see somebody say yes. Okay. I had to ask that. And listen, let me tell you something. These brothers, they get in the group me and they ask questions in the group me, and some random brother will like give them a response. One brother came to DC, came to Baltimore, and he asked for information in the in the group chat, and some random brother answered him. I'm just like, why did he reach out to me or like ask the question? Okay, hey brother, you're the state director for this area. You know, let me ask you. That way you can get backup. And because he wanted to bring some brothers for a tour, and I'm like, okay, I know who to call at that campus. I know the Greek advisor. Duh, I could set that up for you. But it just was random. He just went to the group chat and they told him whatever. Then I heard he was salty because no one met him. I'm just like, I don't know. So Brother Hill, I see we got some questions or some folks putting something in the group chat.
Yes, so
I didn't know if it was something
I'm going up. So this is okay, most 2.0s, no one has that anymore. Most areas 2.0 higher that require, okay, so something's, it's the national selling that's problematic. So I guess Brother Watson, did you want to elaborate in that statement? It's the national selling that's problematic. I'm assuming you're talking about as relates to intake.
Yeah. Good evening, brothers. Brother Anthony Watson from the illustrious Eastern region. So when Brother Hill was talking about the recruitment, like, is it hard? or whatnot. Brother Tim basically spoke on chapter, pretty much, or maybe even region. So pretty much, if you have like a strong base at your chapter, then that's all fine. Like it's not really an issue with recruitment. However, when we look at what Iota basically is doing on a national level, what Iota is basically offering brothers as they come in and what they can do for brothers, we don't really have a strong promotion when it comes on a national level. Like, what works are we really doing that is being showcased on a national level? What type of PR do we have? And we don't really not even but we don't compare to our counterparts. And I know that you have brothers that ignorantly say, I'm not worried about what the next fraternity or what the other Divine Nine are doing. You may not be worried, but we're in a time where everybody offers brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Everybody offers step shows and stroll practice. But what is the fraternity doing on a national level when interests say, what are some of your well-known national initiatives, or who are some of your known members, public figures, and things of that nature? Like, we have a long way to go. Like, when I look at this new current slate that are running for the national office, I'm looking for, don't sell me a dream. Let's look at the problems that's going on in the fraternity. And if we're keeping it centered around like recruitment, like what can you do on a national level, or what do you plan to implement on a national level that's going to make the fraternity more attractive? Because we even have brothers that are, we have current brothers that have lost morale for the fraternity, that have no hope for the fraternity, that have no more love for the fraternity ultimately. Well, I'm not going to say love, but they just don't see the fraternity progressing and growing. So I am interested to know what the national body is looking into, or what the current slates are looking to implement that will make Iota more attractive on a national level, because ultimately a chapter can rebrand themselves, but how can we brand an entire fraternity?
So okay, maybe I'll jump in, Brother Taylor, and you can just kind of pick up, I guess, whatever I miss. So, Brother Taylor and I, we've had these conversations about, what we're looking to do and how we can bring that love back. And Anthony, I know you said you didn't mean it, but you're right. Some brothers don't have the love for the frat anymore because, some of them think, well, what is it to love? Or, the passion for it, or the morale to actually do the work. And so to that end, a couple of things that we have heard, but that we've put in our platform is, you're absolutely right. What is our marketing strategy? What are our tools from a national level that says, hey, I want to be a part of this organization? I used in one of the other calls, I live in Chicago now. So if I wanted to go down the street to Barack and Michelle's house, and I say, hey, man, good to see you. Would you be interested in becoming an Iota? He'll turn around and say, well, who are y'all, or what do y'all do, or would I benefit from it? How can I tell a former president how he would benefit from being a member of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated? We do well within ourselves, but we don't have the branding and the marketing techniques. Now, this doesn't slight what Brother Hightower is doing, but one of the things that Brother Taylor and I, we want to do is we want to come in, and have allocated more than the $2,000 that's currently allocated for marketing and branding. One of the things that if brothers are re-engaging their stars, that's who we are. That's one of the things that we're going to stay true to what we do. If I understand what these stars do for us as it relates to the organization, then I can better articulate, for that brother, Brother Watson, who is a particular interest, who wants to know, well, what is Iota? When we can physically see it, not what we hear and not what we say. Another thing is just trying to find what are those quick wins. So Brother Taylor and I, we've had several of these calls, and we've taken some very copious notes, not only things that we already know, but some things that you all are saying, hey, if we could just get this, like I'm sure, and Brother Taylor, he's a state director, if he can get certificates and cards before you cross. Like when I crossed, my card and my certificate was there for me when, when we finish what we finish. I didn't get oh, you'll get it in a couple of weeks or you'll get it in a couple of months. It was right there. That made me feel like that I was a man of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. And so, we have these calls because we want to hear what are some of those things. We're not perfect and we're not going to be able to solve every situation, every problem in the first 100 days. But as we listen to what the brothers are asking or talking about, or what are some of the morale things that are challenging, we're looking to take some of those things that we could do quick wins. One of the quick wins that are right now that are happening in our country is Biden. He's now expanding, these vaccinations. They're coming in like droves. I just saw in the news today, they're like 200 million or 2 million that's now coming to the United States. That's what Brother Taylor and I, we want to do. Now, here is the challenge. Brothers, it takes time and it takes patience. You have to work with us. When we take office in September, while we're learning a lot, it's still a lot that we don't know, and we won't know until we take that office. And so some of those things that we want to do may take a back burner. But here's where you come in at. So Brother Watson, you on this call today, I would look for you to pick up the phone and say, okay, Brother Hill, you said you can do this. Can you do this? Or, hey, can you help this? Can you work on this? Or I'm willing to assist. That's what we need the most, because we are going to be the leaders, but we need your help. So there are a number of things that we want to do to create quick wins so brothers can bring that love back. But we have to be able to come back collectively and say, I want to be Iota. I want to do Iota again. Brother Taylor.
Yeah. So great point, brother Watson. I feel your pain, and I want y'all to know that's part of the reason why we decided to do this. We're like, we are the change we want to see. And I was going to also say that part of the reason why we are the way we are in terms of not getting things done or brothers not feeling whatever kind of way is because the current folks that have these national positions, they aren't doing anything. They're not working and nobody's holding them accountable. For instance, if you go look at some of the duties that our National Director of Member Services is supposed to be doing, or you look at the duties that the Graduate Affairs is supposed to be doing, and it's just not being done. It's like we already have the tools already there. The brothers are just not doing it, and nobody's holding them accountable. So we don't have time for those type of games. So there are a lot of good stuff that we have that we just have not been using. For instance, if you go into the portal right now, there are intake videos for each region. Their intake videos that like Steve, our regional players, has one in there that we give to the intakes. I didn't even know it was even in there. Nobody said anything. It was like, why are we keeping it a secret? And then also, I look on Watch the Yard. I'm not sure if y'all follow Watch the Yard. Their Iota content is better than what we promote about ourselves. And I'm just trying to figure out, why don't we have a way in which that we partner with them and say, hey, y'all got some good content. How do we link up to ensure that when you put things out, it's publicized in a proper way? It gets folks on to know more about us and the great things that we do. We need to enhance our honorary member program. It's no reason why that's not been enhanced. It's sitting there. It's sitting being dormant. We're not doing that. And also, for a lot of years, brothers, we've had this mentality that, oh, we'll just let that region do what they do. We're not going to bother them. No, it needs to be a full team effort from nationals down to the chapters, and then right back up from the chapters down to nationals. For gone are the days when we're like, oh, y'all can just go and do your own thing. No, we are getting older as an organization, and we cannot continuously sit there and do things like we did when we in the first 2 years and think we're going to be successful for another 57 plus years. Last point I will make is that if we think that having only one person being paid from the fraternity to move this fraternity forward is enough, I got some ice to sell you in Alaska. It's brothers, we have to invest in ourselves. If we're not going to do it, we can't expect anybody else to respect us. So that's also another thing that we're planning to do, that I would like to do, Brother Watson, in terms of getting actually paid staff other than KB, in addition to KB, to support and help this apparatus that we have, this great organization. Some of the stuff that you're talking about, it can't get done because we're relying on volunteers to do it. And when they don't do it, it's like, oh, well, it's not happening. Is there any reason why we don't have a save the date for conclave yet? I mean, I'm just trying to understand. That doesn't take nothing. I mean, we they told us the dates, but we don't have it. I'm just basic stuff like that will be done should we get the honor of being next administration. Questions?
Well, so one brother Cross, I know Demonte, I'm gonna get back to yours. Yours is a little lengthy. Brother Cross, he said some aren't qualified to hold these positions. Brother Cross, you are correct. We've seen, well, I mean, I've been in long enough. I've seen when people aren't qualified, but one of the things that Brother Taylor and I are gonna do is we're gonna allow everybody to vie for their position they currently have now. Yes. With having job descriptions, you know, we're gonna vet you like anybody else. Long are the days of people who just wanna do it just because, you know, the old boy system. Now, granted, we're not in a position yet that we can turn people away, but we want to craft a way that brothers who know how to do this, if they don't do it for a living, this is something that they went to school for, or they have some expertise in this, so that we can align them with what we need to do. Now, I think before you came on, as we're talking to state directors, Brother Brandon, he brought up about really what is it that we're supposed to do. And so he agreed, you know, upon us taking office, that he'd be willing to work with the team to put together what does a state director do. And I know that they are, and, you know, Brother Taylor, if you remind me, I'll ask Brother Smith. I know that we came up with job descriptions years ago about what each one of these responsibilities are for each one of these positions. Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah. So is the state director one in there?
No, doesn't exist.
Okay. So that's one of the things, Brother Cross, we can do is create a job description for state directors, and, you know, if they qualify, hey, that's what we're gonna do. But we will be actively interviewing and putting people in positions and asking for our RPs to do the same thing, so that we're not just putting people in positions just to be putting them in.
What I was about to say is that one thing about the OVR, we have a succession plan. So the person before is going to teach you before that. So we never fell off on that part at all. It's not knowing what's going on, because we've been under that person, state directors, regional leadership, all of that.
Listen, I'm so happy you pointed that out, because that's a best practice, right? That's working. So that's something that we can do across the damn regions. You know, sorry,
we grown, we out here.
But you know, that's something that we can do across regions. Why aren't we sharing best practices and help each other out? Because, brother, if I'm experiencing this thing here, it might be a different flavor of it, but you got something that's working. Let me see if I can try it.
And then you were saying about the intake videos. We knew about that, because one thing about our leadership, he lets us know what's going on as soon as he gets it.
Okay.
So one thing about that, Randy, and before that, Gene, before that, Leon, before that, Dorn, all that, we always knew what was going on. And so we can deliver it to our undergrads and our grad chapters in a timely basis, and not be, okay, let's run it, let's wing it, as Jay Will said, wing it. We're not trying to do that. So I think that is the best practice, because you can't just put somebody in a position they don't know what the hell they're doing, period.
Right.
And
we should be grooming
grad
them.
advisor. It's just like from grad advisor to state director to that's the movement. That's how you should move. You can't put someone in a position they don't know what's going on. But we also had people within a phone call or a drive to say what's going on with this, what's happening. One thing I can tell you, our group be jumping. If we got any questions, our group always jumps. And we have past Polari in that group to help out. So as you said, that should be across the board, and that's why we don't miss nothing as far as our region.
There's a question, Brother Taylor. I'll let you take this one. Brother asked, what are our plans to diversify the portfolio of funds collected by the fraternity outside of national dues?
Excellent, excellent. So so brothers, great question. And y'all may be aware that we only have two streams of income right now for the fraternity. It's the dues and it's intake fees, and so that's not sustainable, right? So what we plan to do is, now there's already a strategic planning committee that has content that they're building on how to do revenue streams, how to enhance our our grant writing capabilities, so forth and so on. So what we haven't been doing really well, in my opinion, is leveraging our nonprofit 501c3, our National Iota Foundation. A lot of the organizations will go out and get these sponsorships and have them filter it in through their nonprofit, and then a nonprofit can offset certain costs, training and development costs, and that sort of thing within the fraternity. Also, I will tell you that there is tons of money out there in which it depends on how we finesse it. If you look on our website, one of the programs that we're talking about doing is called Centaur Goes Green. There's a lot of money in green innovation. So if we have brothers doing community service that's related to green energy, potentially that money comes into NIF as a tax write-off or what have you, and then that money can be offset to cut costs within the fraternity. I will also tell you that we have uh, um, ways in which we can do some revenue building and help brothers learn about legacy planning and so forth and so on, and also give the benefits for the insurance policy that we have. Brothers sometimes don't know. I mean, maybe y'all in OVR know, but there's certain bells and whistles that comes with the insurance policy that brothers don't even know. And the fraternity doesn't publicize it. If you're financial, there's some things that you get from that. But if you look at our bylaws, the Grand Polaris is supposed to be the CEO of the organization. And if most CEOs are going out and they're raising money to bring into that organization. So I'm already have plans for meetings with national leaders and also meeting with the military. I'm going to be meeting with Coca-Cola and certain businesses like that to find ways in which they can just partner with us. Some of you guys know right now, you have in your states or in your area, you have grant writing opportunities for people. I don't think that we are going out right now and seeking those opportunities that are out there. So that's how we're going to bring in money into the fraternity. And like we talked about, it's going to take, Brother Hill mentioned, it's going to take some time. We were looking at bringing in 1099 contractors because you don't have to pay all the their life insurance and stuff like that for those folks. We would get some temporary staff in there to help offset some of the work to get stuff done. We've been doing the 1099 thing before, but we've only doing it when we have main events like a conclave or something like that. And it's about doing that budget so that right now, Brother Hill mentioned, I think there's $2,000 for marketing, and there's no budget line for training and development. So how we do the budget is how we would be able to, but listen, they got money in there for travel. Better believe that. So it's, we can find ways to take our budget and just restructure it so that's going to be to the benefit of the brothers. That was a long response, but that's what we're thinking about.
Okay, Brother Taylor, he said, let me go back to his, they talked about we definitely need to enhance our honorary membership and truly notable gentlemen currently of Iota as well as outside. So Brother Taylor, he said, agreed, we need more selling points to give potential interest. There is a disconnect between the old generation building the frat upon activists and brothers that brought brothers in. As to Brother Taylor's question, that the transition to grad chapter is very dependent on the undergrad brothers' relation to the area and how, as Brother Brandon stated earlier, because how some brothers were treated.
That's a big deal. It's one of those things that we're going to have to work on, brothers. I know, and it differs.
Can I say one thing?
Go, yeah, please. Go ahead.
Taylor, do you mind if I say something? The reason I said it is because of that. Is because of it may be the mentality of the older brothers. Some of them are still stuck. They're still stuck of when they did things, how they did things. So they haven't adapted to the new ways that we are now. So because of that, they only like things done their way. When it isn't done their way, that's when we face the problem. So, and plus, some of you just don't like me. Oh, well, I mean, I ain't worried about it. I'm not here to be liked. But there's something I implement, you can do or you don't. If you don't do it, it's fine. But don't go further than that, is what I say. And that's when people go further than that. And then it results in, something being said.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're hearing from a lot of the older brothers in our area, and the Brother Hill tapped on it earlier as well, about bringing back the love. And when you ask the brothers, what do they remember about Iota? What do they love about the organization? And a lot of them will tell you the brotherhood was what attracted them to the organization. And when you see Iotas on the yard or you see them bonding, you're like, man, that's something that none of the other Greeks really kind of could step with, contend with when it came to the Iotas. So it starts with having conversations like this, brothers. with understanding the new versus the old and finding that middle ground. You know, and I don't think we've ever done that. For instance, there's some misconceptions out there about whatever happened to ISI, why they started, you know, why were they created? Was it a good thing? And the fraternity never told us, they never educated us on it. And you ask the question, well, why not? And so you got new brothers coming in that don't know the history, don't understand it, and they're just being told what they think they heard from some other brother. And it's just like, why are we doing this to ourselves? I tell everybody, and Brother Hill and I have been working with brothers, and you don't get along with everybody. That's not a requirement. You got family members that you probably could, you know, talk to or don't get along with. However, if somebody else come in and try to mess with them, you're gonna stand up for them because they're your family. We got to remember that good is not the enemy of great. Like we're trying to tear each other down because it's not your idea. We just got to stop and recalibrate and just try to go back to the reason why we pledge this great organization and the love that we have for it. I know I'm not trying to sound like Pollyannish, but that's the fact, brother. It just, we have to get back to that and reimagine Iota. Think about it differently. It's there. It's in the energy. Brothers on the movement, y'all see the brothers on there. Men ain't gonna talk about things they don't care about, but they're on the movement because they're passionate about something, right? How do we take that passion and get it back into doing the work that we know needs to be done? Brother Anthony, you had a comment? I see you on the call.
Oh,
go ahead. Do
you mind if I? So to my point, and thank you, Brother Hill, for going ahead and speaking. I know I was kind of rushing when I was trying to type.
It's all right.
But honestly, I just wanted to say I feel like with this working with so many state directors saying this is a volunteer position, you know, and things we do. For one, I do agree that not everybody can be in this position, but at the same time, I feel like with a lot of the things we have now is very restrictive to the brothers that either want to help out or are very just chapter dependent, like how we had stated the other day, how they're very just for their chapter. So like with the Iota Academy or with anything that we need, a lot of the frat right now is being carried by the older generation or the brothers that currently pay dues now because some have fallen off because of their relationship. I was trying to state earlier. So to me, it's just like there's not an ease of access. So just speaking on Virginia's behalf, we have a lot of the older generation. And when you tell them, like, you know, there's Iota Academy, there's this third, we have to put in hours by this much. It's just, instead of the brothers actually getting in and doing the work that they, you know, perceived, yes, we're a business, but it just seems like we don't have a good balance of having that link between how brothers used to do it, or let's say it was like a better easy access to now it's, there's like 8-10 more steps that's now viable that needs to be done, that needs to be processed, that might come back in a few weeks. And it's just like, how do we inspire those brothers that are kind of like fed up or in the midst of thinking this is a lot, and then we were trying to get them to inspire the new generation, but we don't have anything really to sell other than our experience in Iota, and sometimes that's not enough because our stories are a lot like some of the other frat stories.
Okay, valid point. So brothers, you guys know that we're not going to solve all of the issues on some of the ills all in one evening, but I think that what we can do is take this input, this great input that we're getting, and like I said, we are taking notes, and what we plan to do is help craft that, and so that we're building on the great work that you guys are already doing. Like I said, it's going to take baby steps, and you know, and I actually wanted to happen quicker, but you know, but I do realize that if we start putting these foundational things that you guys are mentioning in place and holding folks accountable when they don't, and calling brothers out when they don't do what they're supposed to do, then we will eventually get there. We just need enough brothers to stick with it, and you know, and hang in there, because you understand the greater goal about getting this done. Hopefully brothers don't get, because and we also got to be aware that certain people are just going to be angry just for the sake of being angry. So we're like, okay, brother, we know you're mad, but you know, can we do this and find that common ground? Brother Hill, you got some more stuff that's was on?
No, this is good dialogue. I didn't know it was Brother Pierce. Was he going to say something?
Oh, I put him on the spot.
Yeah, you put me on the spot, so I guess I gotta say something. I guess we're still on the topic of recruitment, right?
Yeah, or whatever you got. Yeah.
Oh, I guess and for everybody, I'm Anthony Pierce, Beta Psi Omega, Assistant State Director for Delaware, Maryland. For us, we have a great VEO has a great relationship with Gamma and UMES. So our issue with in terms of the grad chapters recruitment is relying so much on that relationship that we're like, okay, these individuals are going to graduate and then come to the sorry for my dog. Come to our chapter, and then there are individuals like the first person like Landon. We anticipated him on coming to us, but he went to a different state, and then now we're like, okay, our numbers are still low, and we're already a young chapter as it is. I think I'm probably the oldest one in there. So I know that's a struggle that we're having as actually reaching out, coming outside of our undergraduate brothers to grow our individual chapter. So it's just been a struggle just trying to reach, I guess at that point it would be professional individuals who want to come and join the organization.
So we were in our conversation with a few of the other brothers. Thank you for that, Brother Pierce. When we had conversations with some of the other regional polari and some of the other brothers we've been talking to, what's happening in the far west and some of their challenges are not going to be what's happening there in Delaware. So I've heard some of the undergrads will say, well, what's your plan for, recruitment and retention or whatever for the fraternity? I'm like, brother, we don't have time to go because whatever I come up with is not, there's no cookie cutter scenario for everybody, right? So what Quad may be experiencing in Tennessee is going to be different from what we need to do in Delaware. So what I was telling folks is that what we would do is have those conversations and say, hey, brother, I understand you're experiencing this in Delaware. Okay, this is the list of dignitaries in this area. This is a program that helps support some other young men that you can maybe partner with. These are some some other folks you can maybe work with that help recruit in this area. But then we might go out to far west and say, hey, okay, they're having a classic out here, or they're having an event where we can support them, and that's going to bring in a lot of brothers where you can get some recruitment over there. So it's different flavors that we can do. But what I can commit that we're going to do is we're going to have an answer about how to do it for your area, and then let that kind of grow and do well. And ultimately the fraternity will do well because we're doing basic things in your area that actually work. Like I know the Brother Wells, what is that? What's the event y'all have every year where y'all bring in all those dignitaries or officials? I forget, Brother X was telling us about it. What's it called? Delegation Day or something?
Yeah, Legislative Day.
Right.
Legislative Day.
Right. So I mean, think that I would love, if it were up to me, if I were king for a day, brothers, I would want to find out like where we have Greek classics or those big events like Brother Wells mentioned in his area, and say, okay, we know it's going to be a lot of people here. We want to get Iota known out there. Let's make sure we're going to invest in some money so we're there and have, just like when you go to football games and you see the Pepsi sign or you see this, that, and the third, these advertisements out there. Iota needs to be at those events, and that means we got to put some money towards that type of creation and help, like for instance, what's popping in Delaware besides the casinos, Anthony? Is it anything? Dover Downs?
Nothing.
Well, listen, no, because you guys got casinos and y'all got the outlet malls and you got Dover Downs. My point is that
no state taxes. I get.
Well, I'm saying we would find. Okay, y'all do something out there that's fun, and so y'all got the races, right? Don't y'all have the speed?
Right. NASCAR.
Yeah. So my point is that if we are finding places where there are opportunities for us to be featured, and we're putting ourselves in those places, you never know what you may come up with. Right now, there's not been a strategy to do that, and we're bringing that to the table because at least we're targeting that particular area for recruitment. Any other questions about that topic? I know we got some great minds on this call tonight. Did I answer Brother Sir Arthur's question, Brother Hill?
Yes. I mean, he just kind of really made a statement, kind of confirming some things that were already said. I got a shout out. It's great to see, and I just brought his name up, brother Antron Rose, man. Long time no see. How's it going, sir? You're on mute.
I think it's,
I was trying to lay back, but you're gonna call me out. What's going on?
We were talking about your video. We were talking. I'm doing well, man. We were talking about your video that you did for the 50th, the documentary that you did, and we're looking for some brothers who has that video skill set to kind of put a couple of things together for Conclave. And we'll talk about that on the side. So I know that I haven't seen you, from a national perspective. So we're here talking, Brother Taylor and myself, we're talking about what Iota will look like post-COVID, if you wanted to call it that, because I believe by the summer, this thing will start going away. What are some things that you look to see as a brother of the organization that will make you reignite or have that fire to go out and tell all the world that Iota is the place to be?
You say what you come back to him.
Yeah, you have to come back to me.
Okay.
I was trying to be more politically correct, but give me a minute on that one.
All right.
Okay. I have something that has come up, brothers, and I wanted to hear from my state directors on this. How do you guys feel about, so our colors are charcoal brown, gilded gold. What are your opinions about using green and all these other colors that we see and putting our letters on it? I need to hear, because I know some of you guys have these undergraduates, and I know it's a hot topic. I just need to, I really honestly want to hear from you all your thoughts on that, because we heard about that earlier. So chime in.
I'll answer. I'm not a fan of it personally.
You're not a fan of
green and our letters.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
And the reason being is because it gets to be misconstrued, so to speak.
Okay.
We already, as an organization, have an identity crisis, quote unquote. And when we can't get something together as far as even what damn colors to put our letters on, even further makes that identity crisis. Now I'll get this point, and I'm gonna shut up on this. The older gentleman that goes to my church, he's from Michigan. And when I first started, talking to him, and I told him that I was Iota, he said, "Oh yeah, y'all wear green." I said, "No, we wear brown." He said, "No, I know some Iotas from where I come from. Y'all wear green." I said, "No, we wear brown and gold." So the thing is, if you have people on the outside that are looking, and they can't tell us by our colors, because we have colors that don't go along with what our colors are in our handbook. So I just think that we should stick to what the handbook says as far as our official colors are, and leave the green for the centaur stage of your process. That's my 5 cents, and I'm gonna go back on.
We had one brother commented and said, as long as the letters and the shield stay true to brown and gold, I'm fine with it. Green is definitely fine with me.
Okay.
I kind of agree. As long as the letters aren't on green, I'm okay with green and red being associated with us, because that is a part of it does have a part of who we are. But the letters should stay on that brown and gold.
But brothers are putting it on green and army fatigue and khaki and white and
just straight, just the brown. The letter shouldn't go on anything, and that's just my opinion. Nothing but brown and gold.
Can I chime in on this for a hot second?
Sure.
So I remember when I came in a while back, some time ago, 20 years ago.
Yes.
I had the brown and gold letters on a white background, and found a spool told me a new one. He tore me a new one. So I kind of agree with the brother said. I understand the green, but the world doesn't. That's something that's in a house. So it should stay with, as far as that green shouldn't go no further than the centaur. I understand what Sir Arthur was saying. As long as the letters are true, I agree. But we put it on camp. It's a fickle situation, because you're saying keep your baseline colors brown and gold, but it's no different. I think the brown and gold looks good with the white background. You know, if you're fashionable, it looks good to me. It can kind of go with the green.
Well, see,
You
Brother
know,
Rose,
but at
Brother
the same
Rose,
time, that's not our colors.
Brother Rose, we got some fashionably challenged brothers though.
Amen.
It's true.
I mean, so I remember when I first came in, I think my second year in the organization is, and this just goes to show. So Brother Cross, he just said there should be standard protocols of what colors or our letters are supposed to be on, and I believe that there are. I know that we've trademarked some things, but I thought that there was some do's and don'ts, if you will. And I remember, I think it was my second year, and at this time, Alpha Kappa Alpha were looking for leadership fellows. And I remember the national office said, hey, you'd be great for this. I can't remember who, I want to say it was Larry Frazier that recommended me for it. And so I went to New Jersey with the AKAs, I think it was for 2 or 3 weeks. And as a result of the leadership symposium, because they picked somebody from all of the fraternities.
So this is the part, the intake plays a big part in the developing a culture. When we get to the next thing.
Okay. And so my parting gifts, they gave everybody line jackets, if you will, and they gave me a white jacket with Iota letters on it. And at the time, I just took it and wore it, although I was always told, you know, our colors are brown and gold. And when I presented and I brought it around the brothers, you know, they chastised me for it. The point that I'm trying to make is that you're right, Brother Cross. If we don't follow our own protocol, then you have people who will do what they see us do. And like that brother told you that, you know, oh, I've seen brothers in green. Oh, no. So one of the things that we hope to endeavor to do is, if it's not out, you know, let's begin to create the narrative of what it should and should not be. It's our sanctioning brothers, because guess what? They do it in other organizations. I mean, I'm a master mason. You see how they tore Whoopi Goldberg a new butthole because she wore something that she had no business to. I mean, I didn't take offense to it, but, you know, brothers, they got offended of it because she wore something that she did not, because the Masonic brothers, we take that very seriously.
She did not earn.
Right.
She did not earn to wear that compass and square. She did not wear, and so I understand why she did it, but to do that in private, that's one thing, but to take it in public, that's what brothers took offense to it. And the lodge that agreed to that, you know, they should have kind of informed, okay, we'll allow you to do this in private, you know, to honor your brother, but to take this public on national TV, no.
Well, so Brother Rose, here's the difference with the brothers of Iota. We know better and we still don't do better. So so I heard her apology and I really didn't go with it. Here's why, because she said that she didn't know. She bought it offline. Well, how many of us have ever purchased anything offline and you didn't know what it was for? Not too many of us. I'm not going to spend my money, but brothers here in our organization, I mean, come on, fellas, we all pledged. We came through the process and we were understood that brown and gold are our colors. But you have some of the same brothers who will take a green shirt, a khaki shirt, and put our letters on that, and nobody says anything to them, but they know better. I'll chalk it up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, to that point,
brother.
I'm sorry. When I first got on, I wore something crazy too, and one of my older brothers came and checked me and said, "Yo, that's not." And then I haven't worn it ever since. It's still in my. Someone bought it for me, so I didn't throw it away. So it's still in my. I might go to sleep in it. But I think we as an organization have to be able to come to each other and say, "Yo, you're not supposed to do that," and then on the other end, not be offended by it. I think a lot of brothers are offended by when somebody say, "Hey." And it could be the delivery of that, you know what I mean? Some people don't take towards, the way you come at it, but on both ends, we have to be able to deliver the information saying, hey, this is what we should and shouldn't be doing. And then on the other end, actually take that criticism and that guidance and use it correctly.
I know I may be in the I know I may be in the dissenting opinion, but you know, it is what it is. I can agree with some earlier points about the letters being brown and gold strict. I know I have a couple pieces of paraphernalia that are on grain. It just has 1963. I think we're looking at kind of the issue, like, okay, brothers are wearing colors that we're not supposed to be wearing. And I think we're not really addressing the problem. And I think for me, at least, when we look at, we'll just take the Iota store on the website. There are pieces of paraphernalia on the Iota store that are on gray, that are on white.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wouldn't personally wear those, but I think the larger context is you don't have quality items that brothers want to buy from brown and gold oftentimes. And so you see something that you have Fresh Iota. I think he's a new vendor for us. He makes the poles and whatnot. You see things that aren't necessarily in brown and gold, and it's like, okay, you know what? That's hot. That's something I would wear. And you don't necessarily see the same things in brown and gold. And I think if we were to create an initiative for our vendors to come up with items that were up to date and people wanted to wear, I don't think there would be an issue with brothers wanting to strictly stay with brown and gold. But until that happens, you see something comes out in a different color. Not necessarily that it's right. I'm not saying that it's right, but I think those individuals are going to say, hey, this looks nice and I want to wear it. And I think just kind of expanding it, I think it goes to the pride issue. Like we want to rep our organization and we want to rep it well, but we also want to wear items and paraphernalia that are up to date and look nice.
Brother Tim, you want to mention about our thought process about vendors, and since that's a hot topic today?
Well, I know Brother Sir Arthur is trying to say something. Go ahead, Brother Sir.
And this is part of my appearance on the gym, but I have to chime in on this because I've been in it 18 years now, so I've watched this go from brown and gold only to where you had on white. I watched them just get actually stripped down at a step show. My first in the organization in 2003, they really snatched his foot off to after 5-6 years passed by, white became the technique. Then I was saying green. I think I have a picture dating back to like the mid '90s. The brother had been on a green shirt that had 1963 on it. So my personal thing, as long as those letters are brown and gold, that still stays the same. I'm fine with it. Our mess side is a green skin part. Everybody knows that. No matter what, I was talking to people know our colors are brown and gold. You see y'all wearing green, can I get started? I'm in green. As long as those letters are brown and gold, that still is brown and gold, I'm fine with it. As far as the deeper colors, we need to ask about that argument that just makes no sense. Why not put it on white? Why not have it on gray, khaki? You put on color type gives the familiar much more special take as far as this saying. A lot of us want to say stuff in the beginning years, early stages of our organization that constantly looks like we did then. We don't have anything first. So when Raven created the first Iota look, that's why he's trending so big right now. I'm working with two companies right now. You probably see on their website, they get a lot of insight from me on what we need to look fresh. Now, and even though I'm all for green, if you notice, they only have brown and gold and those two vendors types because I make sure I do what I hear the brother here exchange. For the most part, for all their properties and brown and gold, it's fresh, it's new, it's clean. It's something that gives us a fresh look to get more attraction from undergrad perspective from a newer model brother because that older person is not going to find not putting something on white, gray, or khaki. Not understand the black. That has to do with me not putting something on black as an outfit for whatever reason. I'm not an advocate for putting anything on red, but green, I consider it neutral because our mascot is pink. And like a big thing, like you said before, that last conclave, when I saw the green blazer, the green ties, you see national officers wearing the green, so you can't just go through there. They've been wearing it for a while now, and now when they change it, when the person say, hey, no more green, I have paraphernalia older than some people that have been brothers. And I'm not going to just throw it away like you said. So it's going to be a thin line in trying to gauge what brothers want first, trying to meet in the middle, because you're not going to make everybody happy about that, that's for sure. But I definitely, I don't have an issue with it. As long as those letters start changing colors and it still get augmented, then I have a big issue. Other than that, I'm good.
So thank you. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Brother Cross, go ahead.
Brother Cross had his hand raised. Do you have something? Brother Chris, you there?
He's trying to get off the mute button, I guess.
Well, go ahead, Brother Taylor.
So, brothers, it's tricky, right? Because we know what our colors are, but I do understand those undergrads that are like, oh, I want to do something different. I kind of want to make things a little more spicy or what have you. So we got to really find that happy median. And I feel like we can do it if we do kind of what we talked about, get some vendors in there. Some of you guys may know about Brother Ted Wheat, and then some of you guys may be aware of Brother Gregory Michaels, and you guys may have heard about what happened with him recently. And it's challenging because this is a brother who has the love for the organization. He wants to do great stuff. And then the fraternity just goes after him, I guess, with some type of legal action. And you're like, could we have done better with that? Could we just maybe pull him to the side and say, hey, brother, it's a way we're supposed to do this, this, that, and the third, as opposed to just like tearing him. I don't know what all happened, but, it seems like you got another brother that has this energy and is good at something. And a lot of brothers are really excited about it. I think if we can find new and cool ways to do the brown and gold, I think the green may go away or may not be as such a big deal. If we think about it differently, if we just say, hey, like I think one of the brothers mentioned, hey, bring in a company and say, hey, man, these are our colors, man, do something with it and have them come back with some designs. I guarantee you that they could come up with some stuff and we would like it. I think right now the decisions about what's on our current portal in terms of like the paraphernalia, that was the decision wasn't made by any of us on this call. They found a vendor and, and there you were. So I think what could have been done is they could have gotten a call like this with the brothers and gotten feedback, or maybe brought them in to bring some test items into the brothers and got a consensus on what right looks like. So what about a proposal for a third or possibly fourth permissible color to place the letters? Oh Lord. Proposal sounds like we would have to do something for bylaws. I'm just going to tell y'all, to be honest with you, old school brothers ain't going for it. They just not. They don't want to hear nothing about it. But I feel like there's a way that we can finesse it a little bit. Like it just has to be a tactful way. And I think that starts with, solidifying what, brown and gold being is the primary colors, and make sure everybody understands that. And I bring it up to you state directors, because you guys on the front line, when you talk to these initiates, these IBI, these brothers that come into the fraternity, we have to help educate their minds and say, hey, listen, these are the colors, this is the standard, and then until it changes, this is what it is. So, we have that opportunity to do that, and they don't know no better. They know what we tell them. So, I mean, that's just. Go ahead.
I say, Brother Rose, he had his hand raised. Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what everybody was saying. Think about it like this, from a business standpoint. When you see McDonald's, you identify McDonald's by that certain color red and that certain color yellow that they use, and it doesn't change. That's their marketing. That's their marketing niche. That brown and gold is our marketing niche. We're not that old. We're not alphas or anything like that. They've been using the same colors. They can probably deviate a little bit and still be recognized. We can't do that just yet.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the young brothers want to, do something a little different, but older guys like myself, Danielle, we got to kind of come in and say, hey, not right now. We haven't reached that point yet. I know we think Iota is the greatest and latest, but we have not reached that point to where our marketing is just out there like that. Brown and gold is our colors. You want to try to, if you want to put it on something, keep it private. That's just my 63 cents on it. When you see that brown and gold, you should think of Iota, not brown, gold, and green, not brown and gold, white, or whatever color you want to add to it. Brown and gold. It's no different than McDonald's or any major marketing company or something big. You identify them about a certain color or a certain sign. It's the same way with us, and we kind of I feel like we just kick that to the curb. We're not marketing Iota the right way. Everybody wants to do it their way, and that comes from the head up. If the head says no, we can only wear brown and gold, that's it, then that's it. And if you don't want to follow that, don't wear it. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree. I do agree that we're still too young to start changing things up and all that whole thing. And I think if we just do what we do well, we'll be successful. It's a lot of cool, like brother Gregory Michaels, you guys may not have seen it, but he put together whatever he did for the Shield, and brothers was feeling it because it was like, okay, he put a different edge on it, but it was still brown and gold. He didn't add nothing, it was just the basics. So I want brothers to remember who we are. And I feel like that starts with, us doing this type of thing. I don't want to talk too much, brothers. We have about 5 minutes left. Are there any other questions that are out there that are pending that you guys, we've got you state directors together so we can hear your input. I also wanted to say this isn't the first stop on our listening tour. We have several of them still coming up. We have an Eastern Regional one tomorrow, and then we have more listed on our website. And then we also will be at Conclave virtually. So and you guys also, you guys have our information. If you don't have our numbers, we're making ourselves available. Well, please let your chapters know in your respective states that we're willing to have a conversation with them. If you guys want to have us come on while you have a chapter meeting, and we'll answer questions. We really want to be the change we want to see. Brother Hill and I consider ourselves to be servant leaders. So we're never going to ask the brotherhood to do something that we're not willing to do. And so we're putting our heart on, and we're saying we need all brothers, to help, to support. We're not turning anybody away. We're going to meet you where you are, because so many times, brothers, you'll hear about brothers getting turned away because they didn't do this or didn't do that, or you're chastising them. We don't have time for that, brothers. We need everybody, lottie-dottie everybody, to come on and help us move this great fraternity to the next level. So enough with putting people down and saying your ideas are not good. We really have to push this, and we need your help, brothers. And I know about y'all being on this call tonight. You could be doing anything. So it shows that your love for this great organization.
Thank you, Brother Wells. So he says, so Taylor Hill is the Democratic ticket for Iota. Well, I was on a programming, a conclave programming call just not that long ago, and I shared with them that I didn't want to, and I didn't get a chance to share with you, Brother Taylor, because we just had the call. They want to do a debate, and I shared with them. I'm all for having a conversation, answering questions, with the other slates, but I wanted to get away from the word debate, not because I think that we would not win or we would win, but we're not the Democrats and we're not the Republicans. We're all still brothers, and the word debate could split the brothers, and that's not what we want to do. Brother Taylor and I, should we be able to be your next leaders, we don't want to take away from what Brother Covington or Brother Hauser wants to do. In fact, hey, they both have a skill set. Would you like to still work for Iota? Because we hope that they are here for not the title, but for the work that we're going to do as brothers. And so, while it's humorous, Brother Wells, I would hate for brothers to walk away from conclave and say, oh, okay, well, they're the Republicans and they're the Democrat, and then we decide to vote based on, the majority or the popular vote. We want to be able to talk to the brothers like we're talking to you all now, sharing our ideas, what we can do. It's just about the best man for the job. It's not about, if our team will do it any differently or any better, because we're all brothers. We're all working for the same goal, and that's to make Iota better tomorrow.
And yeah, brothers, we were strategic about asking for state directors, and we're gonna have a meeting with the regional Polari. We talked to some of the grand Polari as well, and making these phone calls and that sort of thing. And because we're trying to give you guys another option and hear us, because because of COVID, we would have come out to visit y'all. We'd have had to some drinks and a few shots and got but I want you guys to remember that we are concerned about this fraternity, and we wanted to make a difference and a change, and we want you guys to hear what we're saying, because I want y'all to hold us accountable for it should we get the opportunity to be the next administration, because it is a great work to be done and we need everybody on board. But I want us to be men of our word. If we say that we're going to do it, let's just do it. And if there's a problem and so we can't get something done, we will let you know, hey brother, we were trying to do this, but then we had a hurricane come through and we weren't able to do it this day. So yeah. I feel like brothers, I feel like real recognizing real. So if we're saying this to you, we're like, okay, you can back it up. And I'm just one of those brothers that I'm just not going to ask the brothers to do something I'm not willing to do myself.
Thank you, Brother Kane, for Brother Taylor. He acknowledged our shirts.
Oh, awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
just kind of want
It's
to promote,
Brother
you know,
Hill's idea.
it's kind of promote unity. Brother Rose, you said everybody doesn't have fashion. You know, we try to put it together. Brothers, this is the end of our call. Are there any last thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, even some criticisms that you have seen about us in the chat? I did put a short survey. If you guys can complete that, that will help us to do a better job in trying to get our campaign on the move so that we can hear it. So brothers can hear about what we want to do so that we can be your next leaders. We're definitely here for you. Any last thoughts? Anything?
I'll just say I appreciate y'all creating the space for us. I know my state director counterparts, I know we work extremely hard with our guys on the ground to make sure that we're moving the organization forward. So I appreciate the opportunity that y'all took to listen to our concerns and listen to our perspectives. Not that it's not
and we got notes too. So we're not just doing it in vain. Listen, because we're going to come back to this.
Yeah, I really do appreciate that. I think that means a lot, especially in the capacity and what we do for our chapters. For me, at least, it really means a lot. So I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I would make a suggestion that, and I see what you guys are doing. I think it's great that you're listening to the brothers. But if you should take leadership, keep this going. Keep this going as leaders to be on the front line of hearing what young brothers are doing. You know, because it's just like reaching out when you want to campaign, you reaching out to everybody. Now, once you've gotten into leadership, all that goes away. I will keep this going. You know, if you're the IGP, you know, you setting up meetings saying, hey, I just want to hear your concerns just off GP. You know, brothers would chime in, and you know, I think that would help y'all, you know, take Iota to where it needs to be, because you're actually hearing the concerns on the front line.
Yeah, and then it would also help. Brother, great point, because it would also help if I'm on a call. Let's say I'm the next IGP, and we're on a call, and then that state director saying, "Oh no, I didn't get that information," and then I'm making a phone call to my regional Polaris, like, brother, you telling me these brothers they're doing something and it's not happening. So it would that accountability thing is what I'm going for, because right now, brothers, we're not holding anybody accountable, and brothers is doing what they want to do, and then the fraternity is suffering. So enough of that. You know, come on. We can't afford to wait another 4 years for the common sense train to come to the station. We here.
So we do have, when you get a chance, I did put also our website in there. We do have a 5-star series that's coming up starting on next month. That's going to be dynamic. We're going to be looking at our 5 stars. And we have one question that's surrounding each one of the stars. And we want to have that engagement. So please, go to our website. It's th1963.org. Check out those days. You can actually, I believe it's set up where you can register for them or jot the dates down or come back to our website. We definitely look forward to having these courageous, bold conversations about the stars. Again, it's about re-engaging our stars. And so we want to be held accountable, as well as we're holding brothers accountable to honor the stars of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Was that it, Brother Taylor?
That's it, brother. I appreciate it. You said it best.